Well, hello and welcome to the Below the Rim show. Usually tackling British basketball issues and things going on within the game, social media and whatnot. But there's a bigger thing going on now. We're not talking COVID-19. This show specifically, we are going to look at Black Lives Matter. Something we've not. I mean, individually, myself, Ads, Daz, Josh, even on the team, have come out and obviously been behind it. I find it a weird society where you have to confirm that you're not racist. But that is the kind of world we live in, and this is what we have to do, and we're all bonding together. And this show particularly, we're going to look at some issues. I'll hand over to Ads in a sec because he'll explain it better than me. Some issues that came up involving Basketball England, and particularly the parade that went on in Manchester. So I'll bring in Ads, my man, first. Ads, explain it better than me.
Thanks, Pabs. Well, first up, thanks everyone for agreeing to come on at such short notice. But for me personally, I just finally lost it on Sunday. I was at the protest in Manchester on Sunday, and I came home feeling great. It was a really nice vibe. It was peaceful. It was everything that you'd want out of it. And then I made the mistake of going on social media and starting to read things. But the stuff that got me really going was some of the things that were starting to appear on Basketball England's Facebook feed. So I just thought, right, I want to reach out to a few people and get as many people on here as possible, so we can just, throw it out there and see how everyone feels about how it's been dealt with by Basketball England and just by everyone in the sport as in general. And the thing that kind of got it for me was the fact that Rianne, you were there on Saturday, and pretty much most of the Mystics team were with you because Dom was there, Lauren Thomas-Johnson was with you, with Ryan, and one of the young players, Jade and Bam, was there, and the pictures of you, Jade and Dom were so like iconic looking as well, and they were the pictures along with the ones with the lads that sparked the sort of controversy and. What's this? Why are they doing this? Why aren't Basketball England doing anything about it? And And I just saw red and did what I tend to do, shooting from the hip, phoning everyone, going, "Have you seen this? Have you seen this?" So yeah, we just wanted to get people on and have it as a kind of open forum. So, I mean, let's start with you, Rianne. You were there on Saturday. Talk us through it.
Well. Yeah, so I attended on Saturday. It was one of the most powerful things I've ever been a part of. You hear people say Black Lives Matter, but I think when you're black and you're living, there are several occasions what you come across in your life that you realize my life actually doesn't matter as much as yours, and like living that experience and then going to that protest and hearing people of all different races, ethnicities shout that Black Lives Matter. Like I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it now. It was such a powerful experience. And then like you, Adam, like I rarely go on Facebook. I don't even know what made me go on Facebook. But then when I saw it, it was just a bit like, wow, is this real? Like, hey, I'm not gonna shout. You're moaning that your son hasn't bounced his basketball in, like, come on, like that's really, like, that's your problem. You think it's way bigger than that. And I think people just need to, I think what happens is it's so uncomfortable to speak about. People get so defensive, they can't even hear anymore. They can't read anymore. It's like when you say Black Lives Matter, you've said only Black Lives Matter, when no one has ever said that. But that's what they hear and that's what they see because they've got so defensive now. They can't take on new information. And it was really disappointing. I posted a response and it was weird because I was just on such a high, and then it was almost like the floor had been taken underneath me because I didn't expect it. It's weird, like, why is it even a debate? So I didn't expect there to be any negativity, specifically around basketball, because of the nature of basketball. It's so diverse. So it's like, well, surely everybody's got a black teammate who they will be sticking up for right now. You know what I mean? Like, that's because it's so diverse. You just don't expect anybody to be against it. That it was weird to me. It was so weird. Yeah.
Let me,
Well, Mr. Will Reed there.
Talk up, Will. Talk up, man.
Speak to us, Will.
right. So, boom. Basically, why are any of you surprised? I don't get it. Why is anyone surprised? I really don't understand what everyone's.
Well, let me ask you this, Will. Can you be shocked by something that doesn't surprise you?
No, I'm no. I hear what you're saying, but for me, I knew from when the only thing Basketball England themselves have done is put a black picture up and retweet what British basketball did. I already knew Wagwan, but it's going back from that, where I've been at a game in Kings Lynn. I've literally heard monkey noises while I'm at the free throw line. Told the referee there's monkey noises. I've been subbed out of the game. There's still monkey noises going on while I'm sitting on the bench. Told another official, nothing happens. Going back on the court, monkey noises. So I flipped. So I'm like, who's in the crowd who wants it? Who's doing it? Who's the one that got ejected? Who's the one that put in a complaint to England basketball? And who's the one that got a fine? I'm not surprised by this. I know teammates that have been at games in Liverpool and had monkey noises while they're playing, and nothing gets done. Like, I'm not surprised by this. I'm not surprised that the middle class part of England basketball is voicing their opinion in this way, because from when I've had coaches come to me, and say when they're at coaching seminars, the person that's taking the seminar is saying up north they play technical and team basketball, and down south they just run and gun. What does that mean? What connotation is behind that? Why is anyone surprised that this is what it is in this country, especially in England basketball? We have zero representation within the governing body. We have zero say about anything, and they have zero understanding of what it's like to be us. They have no idea. I don't understand why anyone's surprised by this, by what's happened. I'm not surprised. I've been even in the teams that I've played for. I know that there's people that feel a type of way having brothers on the team. I have a coach that's told me he's used the word nigger before. Like, I'm not surprised by any of this. I was on a team where I had a teammate who was Spanish ask me if it's okay to call me as nigger. Yeah, can I call you my nigger? What do you mean? And then I'm the one, because I kicked off and because I said no, and when I got mad, I'm the one that got in trouble. I'm the one that had to sit for a game. And my coach is telling me, he wasn't asking, he was just asking it because of the songs. I've used the word before. Huh? Why is anyone surprised by this?
You know what it is?
So, to answer you directly, Will. Sorry. Continue, Ryan. Continue. You finish.
I think I'm optimistic. I'm that person. I always try and believe that everybody is inherently good. And I think the reason why I was disappointed was because, obviously, by the time Basketball England put out that statement, this movement's already been happening. So
for a week. For a whole week.
So at this point now, you've had time to educate yourself. You've had time to understand. Do you know what I'm saying? So you've had time to hear people's perspectives, because people don't post things already. People have put out resources. People have signposted you where to read, where you might get even a little bit of an understanding. And even if it was something as simple as, on TV, all the Disney characters look like you and your child. Even if it's that, then you can recognize, like, whoa, okay, yeah, there is something. Do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
in my head, I was expecting people to be a bit more.
To deep it more than that, I can probably say bar maybe 10%, 15% of teams from under 12s, whatever we want to call under 12s, 13, 14, all the way up to men. I'd say 15, 20%. Maybe a team doesn't have any black players on the team. Maybe. And they can't reach out to those parents. They can't reach out to those gentlemen, to those girls, and ask them, what is this about? Can I understand a little bit more? It's because people don't want to. They're oblivious to it. They don't want to register it because it's not a them problem. It's not about them, so they're not bothered. It's like, oh well, it's just another thing. It's been going on for years. It will just continue and continue, rather than actually address it and understand it.
Greg, my man, you were going to answer on that as well.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to expand on what Will was saying. Like, I do completely agree with the point you were making, Will, and I think you're right. And in terms to do with what Basketball England actually posted after the events of the weekend, I don't care about Facebook much, so I'm rarely ever on there. But someone alerted me to what was going on, so I had to go and have a look. And I saw Rianne's response and I read it. And if you don't mind me saying, as I was reading the reply, it came across to me like, this is a series, like, as you just described it, Rianne, the floor's been knocked out from under your feet. So that caused me to become defensive, to reply in the way that I did. And the final statement I made at the bottom of my response was that the British basketball community is a fallacy, and this shows why. Right? So it was in direct response to a particular lady. I'm not going to say their name right here because, well, for one, I don't remember. She's not an important person. But it was in direct response to say, okay, this is what I want people to do when you see things that you don't understand or you think that you don't like. Instead of Rianne, Dominique, Jade, Ryan, Lauren, take whoever you want it to be from your hometown in your club and make it them, those black kids from your club in your hometown that did this. Are you on Facebook speaking to them in that manner and scolding them, or are you supporting them? And I also put that I want every player here to know who answers to this and how they answer, because that will tell you how they feel about you. All right? So sometimes because you're removed from something, it's easy to offer a perspective on it, on a knee-jerk. I don't mind knee-jerk reactions, but after that, go back and look, think, listen, and see what's really going on. Now, that's what didn't happen. People didn't stop after their initial knee-jerk reaction to see that this is what's actually happening, this is what's being said, right? Now, as far as what you said, well, I don't know what it was like in the East, but we were up here at D3 North. There were 2 teams, I think, in our division that didn't have any black players out of initially 12. It became 11. The team dropped out, right? 10, that's 10 teams in our league with black players. There's no reason for anybody on those teams to not know what is actually happening right now.
I didn't play a team this season without a black player on it. There's not a team I played. Oh, maybe Hemel too, but yeah,
maybe Hemel too for sure. I think
maybe Hemel too.
Yeah.
Right.
But
So
I think they might have had a light skinned brother, but I think he was trash, so it didn't matter.
right. So things
trash.
The things that happen because of that. And this club cannot be excused because they have a couple black players in their roster. A team in Division 3 North tweeted out last week, and it was actually the chairman of the club in charge of the club account.
Don't say his name.
What happened in public is seen in public.
This guy, he was trying to say that his team that was 4th or 5th or whatever in their conference was going to come close. Listen, we would have smoked you. Don't ever think he was ever going to come close to us. We would have smoked you.
I assume you're talking about someone who's a former guest on our show.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Now, rubbish on Twitter,
here's the thing.
Not sure about the quality of the division. It's mad, bro.
The tweet was, skin color is just a tan. That is, honest to God, probably top 3 most idiotic things I've ever heard in my life. So my thing is, and this is what I don't like about situations like that, he jumped into my DMs as sort of a way to explain himself and maybe apologize, not apologizing.
Yeah.
But the thing is about that, you said what you said publicly. That same apology or explanation needs to be public. James Thompson.
Oh, Lord. This guy's spilling tea all over the place.
Fam, do you know what's mad? I was thinking of someone completely different.
I'm sorry.
I was thinking of someone completely different. He was on Facebook, absolutely waffling. But anyway, so this guy as well. Say no more.
Yeah, that is. Look, that to me amounts to a cover up. Oh, it never happened. I'll delete the tweet. I'll put out another one.
Yeah.
No, you said it. We seen it.
Say it with your
I'm
chest.
not the only one that's seen it. Trust me, because some people made some comments. Why is the apology or the explanation
I'm
in
trying to
private?
find out who the person is. Who's because you're not mentioning names. Who is it?
I said
We don't want to do that, Benny.
Right, point him out.
Say
I
names.
said his name, James Thompson.
Okay.
Add my
Benny
man.
writing it down.
He's making
Oh,
notes.
he's
Let's,
finished. His
let's-
coaching career is done out here now. His coaching career is done out here.
See, you
Oh,
say that.
sweet.
Do you really think so? Do you really think so?
And you can't be out there doing that mess. You can't do that. He's in the wrong sport.
Facts.
Now,
Big
sorry, I'm
facts.
jumping in. I don't know if I'm supposed to jump in, Adam. I don't know when I'm supposed to jump in.
I was actually going to bring you in because obviously it was literally 10 minutes before we came on that I got the email, so I couldn't really tell you much about how we were going to do this because I really wanted to get you on because you obviously are Basketball England. And how did you feel about what sort of seemingly got unloaded on the Basketball England page? Because everything that the guys have said was, there's the reason why, me and Paps got talking about doing this show, because it was just like, no. Do you feel glad that it kind of happened on Basketball England's page?
Yeah, I want to start by apologizing. By the way, I got your email really late because it's been, my normal job is my normal job, and my board staff would be so I'm really sorry for responding really late.
Don't worry.
With everything that's happened over the weekend, if you're asking me as a person, yes, Will, I would have reacted like you. Why is BE taking so long to put something out? But we also know that a lot of companies and a lot of organizations were just jumping on the bandwagon and putting things out there just to be seen to be doing something. Sure. But if you come from the board members, from my side, it was like, if we're going to put something out, it has to be right. You can't just put something out so you look good and sound good. Now, from somebody who did basketball, and I'm sure Ishmael will know this because Ishmael comes from the ends. Don't know if he's still in the ends.
Always in my heart, you know the ones there.
From the ends, you can't just be out there just saying things. So we had to really, and I said to them, what we've got to do is we've got to do things in-house first. Let's look at the work for the young people that are seeing everything playing out. And let's start talking to our young people first before we put things out there. But also let's plan how we're going to have this conversation with our coaches, with the people that are delivering basketball out there, and then put in stepping stone that if we say we're going to do this, we're actually going to do it. So that's why it took so long, because we had to make sure we can actually deliver in what we're talking about. Now, when they put a statement out, which I think was over the weekend, I didn't hear about this Facebook incident till I think yesterday or day before yesterday, which is absolutely wrong, because I saw Rihanna, I saw your post on Twitter the other day, and I reached out and said, I don't think you should be explaining yourself to anybody. You shouldn't have to explain to anybody why you're out there protesting, why Black Lives Matter. Because we're Black people, and as a Black woman in sport, especially in basketball in the UK, I'm not surprised about the level of racism, because I got it when I first started. And that came from the journalist side. I've got it my whole career. So seeing people speak out, which is, what I think is good. So now we know who they are. It's not a pretense kind of like, oh, we're one big happy family, everything is great. We know who they are, so we can deal with it. But also to your point, Will, if these are the things that you're going through when you're playing the games, you should also know that you can report them.
I have.
And
I did. Like nothing happened. So when the incident with the incident in Kingston was I was playing for Cambridge, and my coach reported it, and because of lack of video evidence, they didn't want to touch it. Nothing.
And who was dealing with it at BE? Who was it reported to at BE?
My coach at the time, Pete Charwood. He's a very good guy. There needs to be more coaches like Pete. There needs to be more coaches like Billy Beddoes, more coaches like Barry Powell. These are the coaches that get it, especially Billy Beddoes. Billy Beddoes understands, and seeing his tweets and his content he's put out, top notch, Billy. And then regarding my coach at Northampton Thunder, before they disbanded, Graham Yates, he was the one that was like, oh, it's not that big a deal. And then John Collins was the one that said that I was too aggressive for the team because of the incident. So yeah,
I just want you guys to
take that
know,
what you want.
I just want you guys to know that B has gone through a lot of changes. I'm sure a lot of you know this already. And the same people that were there, you know, there's mindset and how things have been run over the years, they thought was okay, and it's not, because we've now got new groups of people coming in and say, actually, no, that's not what's going on in the end. This is what you think is going on in rich parts of basketball, but across the board, this is what's happening, and things are changing. But it takes people to speak up. That's what I'm saying. Give me the names, because I can't walk into a room and start a fight and I don't even know who I'm fighting about.
True. Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm sure
I appreciate you.
I take zero tolerance to any of these things. I won't have it. And as a board member who just happens to be black, not because I'm there because I'm black, I'm there because I've been in this industry for a very long time. And I think the Black Lives Matter situation, it's a great time for it to come. And for the people that have just showed their colors, especially on social media, now everybody can see it. They can't then jump into your DM and try and explain themselves. We know who you are now. We know who you are now. So it's not a situation where it's like, oh, I didn't mean to say that. What do you mean my skin is tanned? I was born like this. You know, I think for me, Adam and guys, it was great for me to see Rianne. It was great for me to see the younger basketballers out there protesting. For the ones saying, oh, they should be home because there's a pandemic, blah, blah, blah. You should be out there because your kids play basketball with these kids. And if this is important for these kids, then all of you need to be out there. I was out there on this weekend because it's important to me as a black person. Not as a basketball person that loves basketball, but as a black person. And for my white friends that also think this is important, they were also out there on the streets with us. So for people to even be sitting on social media saying, oh, they should be at home, or they haven't done this, they haven't done that, they're bang out of order. That shouldn't be happening, especially within basketball, your basketball community, where we know that we have percentage of black people is higher than anything else. Sorry, guys, I get really passionate about this, by the way.
Speak your truth. Speak your truth, man. Speak your truth.
It's a bit mad. It's like, I don't know. They're clearly not Londoners, because if they were, people would have found them by now.
You know what's crazy about that? The point about people out here protesting while there's a pandemic going on. A fully operational adult mind would ask the question in this way, and excuse my French, isn't it fucked up that things are so bad that they feel like they need to be out there right now?
Knowing that they're 4 times more likely to die from what it is.
Fam! Oh, fam!
You know what I'm saying?
It's mad to me.
I'm already more at risk, but this means so much that I'm gonna take that risk. Do you know what I mean? Like I know I'm actually 4 times more aware of how serious this situation is than you are. I'm 4 times more aware, but this is so important. I'm still gonna do it. Like, it's just obvious, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't get it. It's so obvious that I literally cannot comprehend in my head how you could disagree.
Yeah. I mean, it's just strange that people will even say that out loud. Do you know, if you think that's your problem, that's fine. But for you to then be in a sport where you know majority of people that play basketball are from ethnic minority backgrounds, then you still have the audacity to speak up when you know they could potentially get a disease and die when they're out there. But this is so important because they've been through this their whole lives. It's got to say a lot. And I mean, when it comes from Stuart, the CEO of Basketball England, said, like, Benny, this is really serious. We need to, it's like, yes, we do. And whatever we say, we're going to have to do it. Don't just say it, because previous people that have come in and run Basketball England, they've talked a lot. So now we say something, we've got to do it. You've got to retweet everything that the young people post. If they post something that matters to them, you've got to repost it, because whatever matters to them has got to matter to you. It can't just be, we're this, and this is what we do, and we support, but in reality, nothing happens. We can't have that anymore. And for us, and guys, it's good that you're talking about it, because if we then don't talk about it, these people will crawl back into their little holes, season start, they'll go back to normal. We don't have a normal anymore.
Do you know what's worrying though? Sorry, just deep in it, just worrying that, because I didn't know about the Facebook post, because I was coming on here to just spread the response in general. I didn't realize about the Facebook post. So while we've been talking, I've been reading up on the Facebook post. You know what's scary? Some of these people that are commenting are parents of children that are playing. That's the scary thing, because those kids may not feel the same way as their parents, right? But those kids then have got to go look at their teammates in the face and in the eye when the season starts or when training starts back. That's
Can I
scary.
quickly?
Ishmael, Ishmael's not been in. Let's bring Ishmael Fontaine in.
He talks too much anyway.
So as soon as the post went up on Facebook, I saw it and liked it, and then left the post. Then I came back to see, because I loved it. I was so proud to be part of an organization, because I feel like I'm a British basketball advocate. I feel like all I do is spend my time defending basketball in this country, whether it's the players, whether it's the coaching, whether it's whatever it is. Even when they hurt my feelings with their, like, you know, the rotation side, where they hurt my feelings, where everyone's got to play and blah, blah, blah. But even if these things I don't agree with. This is a situation right now. This is a situation right now where I actually felt like there is no space for any sort of disagreement. If you're not with this and not moving with this train, you're on the wrong train, you're going the absolute wrong way. And what I laughed at, which was so funny to me, I commented about, I think Rianne touched on it, how we know the risks. We are not stupid. I'm Afro-Caribbean. My dad marched on Saturday. My mum marched before her shift. My mum is a midwife. My sister marched. My brother marched. My uncle marched. Fontaine's everywhere. Now, what killed me about the response was what they tried to do to make it seem like what was wrong was they tried to cite procedure. Did anyone read the COVID-19 booklet? That booklet was written way before a policeman decided to kneel on a man's neck for 9 minutes. That booklet was written way before then. Now, what I feel what Rianne did was, and what Rianne did and the rest of the Manchester Mystics and the Manchester Magic crew did, I felt like they was very proactive. And the one thing about Basketball England before Benny was there, they weren't really proactive with Black History Month. They didn't really cite anything to do with Nelson Mandela. They didn't cite anything to do with Malcolm X. They didn't cite anything to do with Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey. They didn't cite anything to do with any of these people, right? So I wasn't waiting for a black box. What I want is some sort of proactiveness prior to this happening. I wanted to see, even though I'm not a big supporter of Black History Month, which is a completely different story for why I can't put 400 years of slavery involved, and prior to 400 years of slavery, and after what we're doing, I can't put that all in 31 days. Unfortunately, I can't do that. But what I do want is for players to feel celebrated, for players to feel more inclusive about doing something. And it shouldn't make anyone else feel any less included, because Basketball England, I've seen them retweet things about St. George's Day. Some of us don't feel very happy when we see that flag. Some of us feel a bit intimidated during the World Cup. Some of us see those Britain First posts with that flag up there. We understand sometimes that flag is not the most inclusive thing. Also, the amount of black people that tried to, you know, even though we lost to Scotland, tried to, you know, I watched that game the other day with a tequila and I was in tears. But the amount of black people that represent this country proudly, they proudly wear that jacket. You go on Orlan Jackman's Facebook or Instagram page right now. I don't know if I've seen Orlan Jack in another tracksuit for the last 2 years. I don't think so. I honestly don't. Rianne, she plays for England. She medaled for us. I'm sitting here like in my house. I could open my run from Barbados when we won that medal. So I think it's crazy that, you know, these parents, because these people, like Rianne and the rest of the people from Manchester Mystics and Manchester Magic, are role models. They are standing up for what they believe in. They are being role models to your children. What's really funny is the post I wrote garnered the attention of a woman who said, "I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry that happens to our players." And I looked at her and I said, "You're from Derby. That happened to you guys. Derby, the Derby Trailblazers, a player had an altercation with someone else because another team called him a nigger while they were shaking hands after a playoff game. That happened to your team, but you're complaining about COVID-19. That's hilarious. That is the most ironic thing ever. You think players don't message each other and talk about what should we do? I have to sit down and have conversations with black players all the time. Some players didn't want to, when that guy put out what he said about the tanning, there were some players who messaged me privately because they didn't want the backlash of not being able to play for him because he's going to be a BBL. That's going to be a BBL team.
Oh, don't piss me off.
I'm being dead
Piss me
serious.
off.
I'm being dead serious. They've just recruited Mark Strudel, the GB coach. Who doesn't want to play for Mark Strudel? Who doesn't? And if they're going to the BBL, who doesn't want to play for that man? Who doesn't? You can't tell me one elite basketball player that wouldn't want to play for him. So people were messaging me privately of fear of backlash for something that was a microaggression in the first place. So I understand people going against Basketball England, but the Basketball England are the governing body of a whole load of other people who own clubs. I asked the question to all the other people who own clubs, what have they done to stop racism and create anti-racist players in their establishments? What have they done? Because it's one thing Basketball England doing it, and it's another thing some of the people who own local league teams on there. That's the question they didn't want to answer. They wanted to keep on talking about booklets and constitutional rubbish. Huh? That's what they wanted to do. But what are people doing with their own clubs to be anti-racist? Because it's okay for me to go and bounce a ball and dunk the basketball and catch an alley-oop and smile on Instagram and sign autographs. What are we doing? What is your club doing to disparage racial behaviour? I had to go to a school in Worthing to stop one of my under 14 National League players getting excluded from school for fighting a kid that called him a nigger. I had to go and sit with both parents. And I did that unilaterally. I didn't ask permission to do that. I did that as a role as a black man and a black basketball player, as an elite basketball player. Then I thought to myself, what are other teams doing in this situation? Because I've heard of more things where clubs have been active. I've heard of more things. So yes, Basketball England, people can be upset about what they posted. I didn't really get, I'm more upset about what's behind the post, as Benny said, as I see a lot of people quoting Malcolm X that haven't read a Malcolm X book. I read Malcolm X's book when I was 19. I want to know how this post will educate the masses. And I want it to be, whatever you post from now on, I want it to be proactive. That's that's what's important to me.
Well, Daz, my man, you've got a question.
Sorry, hi, thank you. Benny, it's a question for you really, based on some of the rubbish that was responded to the Facebook post. Personally, I thought the Facebook post was fantastic and amazing what the Manchester community was doing. But will BE be looking to put out any material to clubs during this time? Because a lot of people, again, I don't agree with it. I think it's ridiculous that you're referring, like Ishmael is, to a pamphlet, say, well, we're getting this information on COVID. Well, that's, that has to come out. That's important. That's great. But will BE do anything to educate clubs like Ishmael's just been saying?
Within BE, there's already policies there for how to deal with racism and things like that. That already existed. It didn't come yesterday. It's always been there. No, but going forward, if you look at the post that we put out, the statement that we put out, there will be training for clubs going forward and having an open forum and having this conversation. So like the coaches that you guys are mentioning here and those kind of things, they will be having conversations with us at BE. But also what's happening this Thursday actually is having a conversation. We're creating something called the Players Forum. I don't even know if I'm supposed to talk about this now, but we're having a Players Forum that is this Thursday. And these are past players, current players, all being put together. 5 guys, 5 women put together to talk about issues that's happened previously with Basketball England, British basketball, all of it, all the issues, good, bad, terrible, and how we move forward. Because what we know, and what I've tried to tell the board and I'm doing now, is that the future of basketball does not lie in the hands of the people that have sat on the board for the last 10, 15 years. They all need to go. The future lies in the hands of the people that have played the game, understand it, and know what's going on. So this forum, essentially it is that it's going to graduate to the people that are just going to start handling what goes on in Basketball England. So the statement that you see out is all part of the bigger picture of what's going to happen. Things are changing. You may not see it, but it is changing. That post that went up, the people that are offended, good that you're offended because you're in the wrong sport. If you can't play with other people from other ethnic minority, then you're definitely in the wrong sport. Go and play rugby, cricket, or swimming or something. But basketball is inclusive. You can't do that. So to answer to your question, Darren, there's so much more coming. I know there's a bunch of Zoom calls that are coming up with the under 16s, under 18s, and then coaches with the different clubs. And then there's the athletes forum that we're then going to sit down and take everything apart and then put it back together. Because right now we can't keep on going the way we are. We can't keep on saying everything is great. But then, guys, you got to keep in mind also that there is a group of people that have always been in British basketball that hated to see anything positive or any changes that happen.
Yeah, true.
There is a group of people, let's not lie to ourselves. There's a group of people, and yes, they're normally the richer part of basketball that will moan and bitch about every single thing. They won't bitch about us retweeting a St. George's flag, but they'll bitch about the fact that you're retweeting something to do with Black Lives Matter. Let's open our eyes to those people, because the only way things are going to change is that if all of us as a collective want things to change. But also the kind of attitude that we're taking at BE is like, we're not taking that on anymore. We're not going to start pandering to people and what they feel hurt about. Things have got to change, and they've got to change now.
Can I ask one more question to the people,
Cool.
the people who might be listening, who might have had a problem with the picture of the protests? I don't know. Rhiannon could even ask this question. When is a good time to complain about racism? Because I feel like these people, they never have a good time for us to march. When is a good time? There is never a good time to throw a slave trader into the river. For me, he should have been in there 10 years ago.
That boy should have been swimming
100 years ago.
I don't think the question is, when do they want us to? They want you to ask them permission to when you want to say something about the way you've been treated. But why should you have to? Why do you have to be asking permission?
Some of the Instagram messages I've gotten, I've had an Instagram message that said, you know what you guys should have did? You guys, honestly, you guys.
Love that. Yes, yes. Them guys there, yes.
You should have waited until COVID said it was okay, and then you should have marched.
Did they say that to the people that went down to the beach to swim a couple of weekends?
Listen, I had to make sure. I had to make sure. I had to make sure. And this is when I start looking at timelines. I have to look at timelines. People don't think there's timelines around. I had to look at timelines. I didn't see any complaints. But what and normally these are the tissue hoarders and the panickers. So I've been so hurt by this, and I'm glad that I get to speak to other human beings instead of myself, because I walk around and I speak to myself. But
I feel you on that. I'm like pacing,
Awesome.
having
just
a conversation
pacing up
with
and
myself.
down, talking to myself. But people, they won't condemn. It's either they're not involved, it's not their problem, or it's a problem when it's their club. I don't get it. Like, this is your problem right now. This is your problem. Obviously, two of them women that message that we're talking about, I don't have any black players in their club, but they want to tell me that they're not racist. And I don't think you're racist because you ain't got no black players on your team. But I do. I think the racist people are not the biggest problem. The people who are not racist advocates, the people who are not anti-racist, are the biggest problem, because they're so apathetic to actually what's going on that they can just go on and about their life while we have to suffer, while I get stop and search, while I get profiled.
But also what they've got to understand, Ishmael, is that this whole 2 weeks has been a traumatic time for every person of color. Because what's essentially done is that they're reliving every single moment they've been mistreated for their skin color. And it's really annoying and pisses me off, excuse my language, Darren, Adam, and all of you, is the fact that you're going to come and then have the audacity to text or send a message to say, oh, I'm not racist, but I'm checking if you're okay. No, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. Because
I'm not racist, but what do you mean?
You don't even know what a racist is. This is the time for you to listen and learn. And I think as much as we also get angry, it's also time to educate them. So it's either
yes.
You now, but when I have the time, I will educate you. But in the meantime, take the opportunity to go and educate yourself, because we're telling you this is what the problem is.
So I've been at Northampton and at Wellingborough. There've been 2 protests. I've and I spoke at the Northampton one, and then was asked to speak at the Wellingborough one. There's one in Kettering, which is all in Northamptonshire, and I've been asked to speak at that one. Because I have a message of, I have a message of we need to educate, embrace, and evolve from this. We need to take the same approach as how South Africa and Germany do with the atrocities that happen in those countries on a completely 360-degree swipe of history, so we can understand all of it. Not to be ashamed of it, not to try and move past it quickly, not to try and push past it, but to understand it and then evolve from it and then move forward as a collective. So I've been speaking on that. But what's been touching for me is I've had players in the under 18s and under 16s from Northamptonshire Titans message me and ask me questions, and gone away, and I've sent them away. This is some of the white players, sent them away, and they've researched, and I've said, okay, come back to me in a couple of days with what you think of this. And they've come back and they're telling me. So that for me shows me that it's not, everybody doesn't get it. Some are getting it and some are asking the question, and some of it. And I feel like if people do reach out and ask questions, it's not good for us to then just put them down or make them, why don't you know this already? No.
Yeah.
What is it you don't get? Why don't you understand? The really good analogy that I had, that I broke it down to someone, was it's like me and you, we're at the start line of a 100-meter race, but you've got a track and I've got sand. We're gonna get to the end, but you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there first every single time, because I'm running into
Not
sand.
even sand, it's mud.
Mud, but to break it down to it, I use sand as an analogy, and then they got it. For others that don't get it quite enough, I have to use I don't particularly want to say it, but a rape analogy to try and understand for mothers that speak to their it's true though. Mothers that speak to their daughters, who have to tell them, you have to be aware that if you're walking alone at night, to be careful, to look around you and make sure. You have to be aware that when you're at work, you may get sexual advances. When you're out in the clubs, make sure you guard your drink, because someone may spike it and you may get raped that way. They have to have that conversation. We have to, me as a parent, other parents of black children have to have that conversation and say, look, you may get treated differently because of the color of your skin. You have to be aware of that, and and if you speak to the police, you speak to them this way. You say, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full. And you have to, especially young black boys, we have to tell them that. And we shouldn't have to do that. You should be able to walk down the street and feel free and comfortable in the color of your skin. And that's the problem. And the only way that I've been able to break it down to people is using those analogies. As soon as I break it down like that, people start to understand, and it's about educating. So yes, Benny, you're exactly right. We have to keep educating and not get pissed off all the time with the people that are not. If they're ignorant, try and break it down. If they're ignorant after you've broke it down to them a couple of times, then they're not they're never gonna want to understand.
Because you can't.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, sorry, Benny.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna say, you just can't get caught up in arguing with these people online, and that's what I was saying to you yesterday, Rian. You just shouldn't have to explain yourself to people. If they don't get it, they're just never going to get it. You know.
That's it.
But we've got to educate when we can for the people that want to learn, and the ones that don't want to learn, leave them behind.
Greg, my man.
So it kind of ties in a funny way, Benny, to what you just said about getting caught up arguing with people online. You know the old adage that people used to say, you know, if you're arguing with an idiot, people at a distance won't be able to tell who's who. The thing is, the nature of social media now, that's changed a little bit. And Darren would have seen me a couple nights ago. I was emptying the clip on people.
Yes, you
I was going in. Now, the reason I'm doing that is I'm not actually talking to them, because this person's being willfully ignorant. They're an idiot. I'm not talking to you, but I know other people are seeing this.
Yeah.
And that's going to raise some questions in their head. And they're going to see some of the information I'm giving you. Even though, yes, I'm talking to you, I'm addressing you, but I'm speaking to everyone else as well. Social media has made the world so small that it's not just people at a distance anymore. They're much closer than you think. You can have a conversation with someone halfway across the world at 3 in the morning that you've never met before. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I think that's relevant is because I got a message yesterday from a former teammate of mine. And he was saying, look, I had no idea about some of this stuff that you were posting just now. And I actually thought I was anti-racist. Now I realized I haven't been. And I never addressed him once. I never said a word to him. He was watching a conversation I was having with someone else. So that's why I say, look, there is something to say. Don't lose your composure. Of course not. Don't get just mad. Come with something that is tangible or something that is actually informational to these people. And that's kind of the approach I'm trying to take right now. I'm calling everybody out with their ignorance. I'm not hiding from anybody anymore. If if that makes someone feel uncomfortable, good, be uncomfortable.
Good.
It's
Good.
time to be uncomfortable.
And I think for a lot of them as well, I think that's also a fear for them. I think they are actually uncomfortable in the fact that they've got to pay attention. They've actually got to address it now. I think it's been okay to be like, it's not as bad as in this country. Yeah, I know Mark Duggan, but it's not as bad in this country, is it? And I think now, because the outcry has been so positive and the way it's been done, the protests have been done, and it's been universally that everyone's gone, nah, this isn't a riot, this isn't a looting, this isn't a madness. We're doing this. There's natural purpose behind this now. And I think that intimidates and scares people because the status quo is going to change, and that's scary for some people.
And it has to. That's the thing. That it absolutely has to. Look at everything that's ever changed in the world, right? My parents and grandparents grew up in apartheid. That didn't stop because someone had a good feeling one morning. You know what? We were bugging. Nah, let's leave them alone now. No, they went out there and they tore the streets up. They messed up the country. They listen, you will not have no peace until I have peace. So what do you want to do? So that's how it has to be from now on, And the thing about it is I don't have, and I never have really, but it's obviously more poignant now. I don't have a fear for missing out on opportunities. I get to where I get to on my own merits. Me speaking now is not going to threaten me in any way, shape, or form. If you want me out of basketball, I will leave. I do this because I want to. This doesn't pay my bills. All right.
Can I say something as well?
Yeah.
One thing about Rian that's amazing, that I think is so unique about basketball here, and which I love, because I played in Germany and my friends play everywhere. The fact that someone could message Rian and at her, like she's like, just at her and say, yo, that's crazy. That is absolutely, to think that a professional basketball player, right? Not just a professional basketball player for the club, but one of our best, and who's representing the country, can be atted in such a way, makes me think all the other players who don't even entertain some of these people online, which is, don't engage with your children, don't engage, they don't understand how lucky they are. And you're so lucky to have a player that you can message or talk to, and is actually very responsive to messages. And this is what you do. So I would not be surprised if she decided just to not speak to anybody anymore and just go on about her life, because we're being held to a standard that the parents are not holding themselves to, or whoever was messaging.
Yeah.
They're not holding themselves to that standard.
Rian, you want to say?
Yeah, I think for me, I love being that approachable. Definitely love being that approachable to parents and to kids. When I, like, for example, that post on Facebook, when I saw that post, I actually didn't respond straight away because I was so angry. And because I coach, like, I literally, the thought that came into my head was, your children might be playing with some of these kids, and for me, it was, like I said, I see the black boys that I coach every single day, and I know 100%, I know I don't have to explain myself to absolutely anybody, but my fear is that those kids that I coach are looking at that post, and what they're seeing is the negative comments. So my fear is that, not my fear, is that if I don't respond, and if I don't respond in a way that I would like them to respond, that they will never speak up. And that's because me, I've received racism my whole life. We all have received it. And part of the difficult conversations I've been having with myself is, Rian, you have to speak up. You can't let it happen to you. You have to check people. And I think what sometimes white people don't understand is if you don't speak up, sometimes I'm not comfortable speaking up because I've got so much to lose in certain
I
situations.
listen.
Do you know what I'm saying? So
On,
I'm not going to
spot on.
stand up to that coach or even like assistant coaches. Like, come on, guys! Like, you have to check each other. Like, I think I'll give an example. The first time I left the country with Basketball England, I think I was under 15s. I went with Ella Clark and I went to a camp in Slovenia, and I was the only black person there. And I literally have never been in this. I'm from Birmingham, inner city Birmingham. I've never, ever before this point been the only black person in a room, or so I don't know. You've taken me out of my comfort zone. I don't know what to expect or anything like that. And I was literally, I honestly felt like a celebrity, but not necessarily in a great
good way.
Like, I don't get the security that celebrities get. Everyone's touching my hair. Everyone's wanting to know things about me. I'm like, well, it's just the same as you. You know, like, and I wasn't prepared for that. And then it was like, right, well, what do I do? Do I make myself small? Or do I fit the stereotype that they've all got in their head? Because I'm young and all I can see, I have no one to tell me how I should be acting, and it's just little things like that I think more representation and education surrounding, like, what do you do in that situation? You might take someone out of someone might have never left their city, and you're taking them to somewhere that might treat them differently because of the color of their skin. What do you do as a white coach in that situation?
Exactly. And Rian, it's important. First of all, something you posted where you said, like, today I'm just tired. I'm tired. Yeah. And my response to that was, okay, listen, I was addressing you, but I was also speaking to everyone else. If you're ever jaded, 100%. Tired, you don't want to say, let me know. I'll say it. I don't care. Anytime, any day, I'll say it. Right? And I know there's some people, young people out there that just never want any kind of backlash in any way, shape, or form, won't speak. Okay, I'll do it for you. I don't really mind. And the other thing is, and this was a question I had in conversation with a colleague of mine surrounding all of this. GB teams, junior teams go to places like Macedonia, Montenegro, Serbia. Has there ever been anything done in that national team environment, in camps, in pre-tournament, to say to the undoubtedly large number of black kids that you have there that, look, this is an environment that isn't very progressive on race, right? Preparing them for what's about to happen, letting them know that you have their back when something does happen, representing their country, remember? You know, has any coach ever had that conversation with their players? And I had to ask someone who's been to the tournament and said, you must be joking. All they want to talk about is their X's and O's and their scouting reports, which is fine. Yes, that's what you're there for. But think about what it's like for a kid who's, like you say, you'd never left any place, you'd never been any place where you were the only black person there. Not even the only black person, there weren't majority black people coming from inner city Birmingham. So for the fact that there was no one to prepare you for that, to let you know that this is what you're walking into, and while you're there, no one to have your back, is scandalous to me.
I just want to add, Rian, and I think what you did with your team is very, very brave, but also you needed to do that, you know, and the reason why I needed to do that, because people need to see you speak. And I think more players that step up and speak, the better things get. And I'm sharing this with you guys because at this point with this debate that's going, we have to be open and honest. I remember when I first got into this basketball world, it feels like 20 years ago, that a lot of the so-called journalists were all white men. The only person that was ever kind to me throughout my whole journey was Sam Nita. Apart from Sam Nita, the rest of all of them were jackasses. And when I mean jackasses, they tried to bully me at events, on social media, throughout my whole career. But you know what I did throughout the whole time? I called every single one of them out every single time. Then they try to degrade you. You're only here because your brother plays. You're only here because of this. No, I'm here because I'm good at what I do. Do you understand? And I know for most people, when you think about speaking up, you think about what you may lose, but then also think about what you gain from it.
Yeah.
Because all the people that try to bully and chat, excuse my language, chat shit about me, they're still sitting out there somewhere with no job, whilst I've managed to go around the world and do everything I'm doing. And still
Tell them, please.
you understand? So right now, I laugh at every single one of them. So I think what you've done is, like they always say, the revolution is not going to be televised. Yours might start off now, but those kids coming up, it's important that they see that there is change coming. You know, basketball England is not going to run the way it's been run the last 20 years or the last 30 years. You're going to go, not you, but the old lot. You're going to go, because it's going to change. And for them to see people like you and the rest of the guys speaking up, and for the ones that get it, that speak up, all of a sudden you have a new wave of young people that will have zero tolerance to any of these things going forward. But if we don't speak and we sit back, they're going to start thinking, oh, it's okay because coach didn't say nothing and Darren didn't say, Phil didn't say nothing, so it's okay. So with these things where they go, oh, Benny, you're going to say, so of course I'm going to say something, because there are pricks within this industry or within the sport that want to feel like they own basketball because they grew basketball in their area, they think they're kins. You're not. You don't own basketball.
Do you know how many times I humbled myself in situations?
You didn't have to.
Like I especially at Northampton Thunder, I humbled myself so much at that club. Like fam, like it pisses me off thinking about it. Like I humbled myself just to play, so I could play nationally, because there's nothing else around. Like the other time, there was nothing else around Northamptonshire apart from Leicester, which is like when you got work and everything else is a bit long, especially when you got to go to Newcastle, then Southampton, and anyway. But yeah, Northampton.
I'll give an example. A current coach in basketball and a former board member at the night decided that they wanted to say something under my post. I jumped in your DM and I said, look, I'm not any of those people. I will attack you in public. I'm just letting you know, I will attack you in public, so you might want to go back and delete what you posted. He deleted them.
No. I'm sorry, Benny. I understand why you said that, but I think this needs to be out in the open. Don't delete your post. I saw that BE.
But you know what I did after that? I took it to the board and I said, look, this member, this is what I screenshotted it.
Yeah.
Because I will have zero tolerance with it, because this is not the space. This is not the sport. If you think of basketball, let's think of the NBA, for example. NBA is great with social justice. Why? Because the players always speak up. They don't even wait for the NBA to say nothing. They're doing themselves.
Right.
For many years, people look at British basketball and they want to laugh. They want to laugh about basketball England or basketball in the UK. It's about time that we pull our socks up and say, no, actually, you're not going to laugh at it anymore.
I agree.
That's not the responsibility of BE. That's all of us. That's all of us.
I don't know. You might think it's a bit extreme, but like comments like that, and I saw it happening on the BE post as well, where BE actually deleted some of the more nefarious posts. Leave them out there. I want people to see who's saying this and what they're saying.
Yeah. Stay out there. Let them be known who they are. Let them be known. Let them be known. I want to know who they are, every one of them.
This is all of our responsibility. It's not just BE, it's all of us.
That's what I'm saying.
People can't laugh at us anymore, because we can't have this amount of talent in this country, and then we have that small group of people trying to dictate what should happen in basketball in this country. Like, if you're racist, this is not the sport for you.
It's as minor. It's as minor as like mistaking passion for aggression. That's the main one for me. It's like, if I'm passionate, or if I as a teammate that's passionate, or that we've just got an M1 and the whole bench is up that happens to be black, but they're screaming at the top of their voice because they're passionate. Don't look at that. Don't be like, oh, sit down, it's too aggressive. What do you mean it's aggressive? Or you're intimidating some of your teammates. I'm passionate.
Will, it's not mistaking aggression, passion for aggression. It's substituting passion for aggression. Like, I'll use something outside of basketball. Rafa Nadal is passionate. Serena Williams is aggressive.
Right.
Hey, there we go. There we go. That's it right there.
I think that's one thing that we've got to start educating our younger players on and our coaches on: microaggressions. I think microaggressions, we have to start really, because the Serena thing is so pertinent. I've seen it hundreds of times, but I don't know, when Rianne said that she went to Slovakia and she saw she was the only black player there. I don't know if anyone understands the reality of that. And the reality of a black player trying to go to different countries is even different parts of the country. I went to Worthing, right? And before I went to Worthing, I had to Google who won the Brexit vote. Because normally the Brexit vote goes hand in hand with racial issues and who gets racial abuse there. And Worthing, Sussex voted out of the EU as a group. You can Google it. And obviously prior to that, when I lived in Germany, the place where I was going was called Königs Wusterhausen. And I went there and I Googled about where it was, and I saw it was in East Germany, and East Germany is notoriously neo-Nazi.
Yeah,
I'll give you, before I get back to Worthing, I'll tell you actually what happened one day. I'm literally, me, and four teammates are the only black people in this town of Königs Wusterhausen. And one day I walk to the gym at 6 a.m. every morning to get because I got a duck chest, stresses me out. Don't know why my chest is so small. I lift a lot of weights. I don't know why it's still happening. But I was walking towards the
pigeon chest-ish.
You see it, but don't worry about it. I got a chain now. I was walking towards I was walking towards my gym, right? And I heard this noise and these stomps and this noise and these flags, bro. This is a true story. I don't know why I never told the story. I tell the story to my kids all the time. And I look over, and my German's pretty good. And I'm seeing that it's like a neo-Nazi rally. They got the SS.
Hey!
And so I decided to kind of slowly walk back the other way because I've been spat at whilst this has happened. Whilst I was in Königs Wusterhausen, I was spat at from a car. I was called names outside a kebab shop by drunk people, which wasn't so bad, which was bad, but it's what I expected going to East Germany. But there was a rally going on and my team neglected to tell me, the general manager neglected to tell me that there was a neo-Nazi rally going on. One of those things that you feel like is an important thing to educate me about while I'm a player.
That's like one of the most highly illegal things in Germany, though.
Freedom of speech, though. As long as you ain't got stickers up and you're not showing the Nazi salute, you're absolutely fine. They had banners up talking about foreigners, Auslanders, go home. So
we've even seen that this week, yeah.
So I was shocked and I cussed my general manager out because I said, dude, I could have been seriously hurt in this situation. I'm one of the only, it's 4% black and it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It'd have been 3% black if you know what I'm saying? So I was really, really stressed about it. But Worthing, sorry, I'm talking too much. But Worthing, before I went there, I Googled who won the vote. The Leave vote won. And normally, as we all know, when Brexit happened, hate crimes went up tenfold. I get to Worthing, and on my third day there, I'm walking down the street, and I pass an old woman, and she calls me a black. See you next Tuesday. I'm not shocked by them though, because I've been through it for years. I've been through not being able to get into clubs, them telling me it's members only or no.
Not tonight, mate. Not tonight, mate.
So, but that's the reality of a black basketball player that you want to go and take pictures with, and you want them to shake your hand. That's the reality. What Rianne says when they're touching your hair. That's the reality of what we have to do. We have to Google to make sure we're okay there. Because I've never been to Worthing before. I didn't have no idea I wanted to go to Germany until I wanted to play bouncer ball. So even though I think Germany is way more, to be honest, Germany went through the Second World War and they're way more like progressive than Britain.
Yeah,
way more progressive
in their history. They've looked at their history.
That's what I was saying about South Africa and Germany. The way they've confronted their past, they've owned it. They've owned it and they've moved on from it.
Will, in Germany, it's not a debate. We're not keeping Hitler up to make sure we understand what happened. That's crazy. Go read a book. You want statues are for people who could. Statues are for high-level individuals, not racists who let 19,000 African people drown on the way to the Caribbean. Not people who owned and sold 84,000 slaves. But these are the conversations we have to have, and this is why we have to march, and risk our lives during a pandemic. whilst you have the privilege, sorry to use the buzzword privilege, to complain about it.
Now listen,
This
all
is the
them boys there
reality.
have to go swimming. King Leopold, you next, boy. All them
He's
boys
out of there. They set him on fire today.
I am
10
gassed about
million
Leopold, you know.
Africans.
I am gassed about Leopold. I'm so happy that he got took down. I'm
Well,
gassed about that.
I never knew, honestly, I never knew. I thought that that history was so insidious that King Leopold would not have a statue. I never knew that King Leopold II, who
Facts.
murdered 10 million plus Africans
Facts.
in the Congo,
Facts.
I didn't realize he had a
Facts.
statue up until yesterday. I knew who he was because I read books. I knew that he was taking rubber from the Congo, and I knew he was cutting off parents' children's hands and feet. I knew that's what he was doing, but I didn't know that he had a statue.
No, bro, it's deeper than that, bro. He had us in zoos until 1950. What do you mean?
1960,
Listen,
1950. 1958 was still in zoos in Belgium.
Yeah, there was a black girl in the zoo
In
in
Belgium.
1958.
Come on,
I
bro.
learned about Leopold before I learned about Hitler. I grew up in Zimbabwe, Africa.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I learned about him before I learned about Hitler. And what I know is Hitler is recognized as one of the most insidious mass murderers in history. He killed 6 million people. Leopold killed 10 million.
Plus, we don't know. All these numbers are there. We don't know. These aren't round numbers, you know?
And Will, check this one out.
Estimate.
Will, you're gonna like this one. So you know how you were told you're too aggressive, etc. This is why I really wish Jade and Bam was in this call like she was meant to be, but unfortunately she's not feeling well. When she was under 15s in the England team, she was cut. In the one-to-one meeting with the coach, one of the things the coach said to her is that she's too aggressive. Wait there. A year later, literally a year later, she goes to the European Championships with GB under 16s under a black coach. One of the things he liked the most about her was her intensity.
Intensity, there we go. Yeah, the difference.
Yeah,
that's it.
Come on.
I've spent a lot of time with Jade and her mum the last few weeks because I'm fortunate to have a court right outside my house. So we've been working out because she's going off to college in September in the States. So I've just been out there rebounding for her and just helping her get some shots up. And I spoke to her mum a few times in the last 24 hours because it's affected her because she's an 18-year-old kid who is that passionate and knowledgeable about all this stuff that she wanted to get out there with her mum and her teammates and do what she's done. And for me, that the picture that I mentioned before, Rian, of all you guys, and then there's that one of Jade, that I think we're going to see a lot of that picture cropping up around the basketball community because it just embodies everything that the protest's all about, and the fact that people of all ages wanted to do their bit. Now, the straw that broke the camel's back for me, and I finally flipped on Sunday, was I saw a picture which you guys may have seen where it's a picture of an NHS worker with his head in his hands like that. And it's the day in the life of an NHS worker. And then next to it, it had pictures of it was the day that I was at the protest on Sunday, saying, yeah, thanks a lot, idiots, or something like that. And I literally threw my pen across the room, hit record on my phone, and put out a thing on my Facebook page calling everybody in the universe out. Because the propaganda that we're faced with today from the media, to do something like that, for me, is just, it's vile. And I've spoke to NHS and key workers today who are offended at the fact that they're being used as scapegoats by people. Because they
Adam, my mum's a nurse.
And it's like, why do people try to combine two things? COVID-19 and Black Lives Matter, it's not that. It's two separate things. And the last thing I'll say about it is, all I've listened to today is the news while I've been working 5 Live, and it's been interesting because all they're talking about is basically on Monday, next Monday, the UK goes back to normal, is basically the message that's coming across. And I'm saying, okay, everybody's getting on people for going out and standing up and having a voice. But next week, it's 5-6 days away. You know what I mean? And everybody's going to be together. We've mentioned it. People at the beaches. The big one for me was seeing pictures of 5 mile queues of people queuing to get in a big box called IKEA.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And these are the people that will be sat there on their iPads casting dispersions, going, "Oh, these people." And that's what really offended me. Is just the lack of, it's like, get your news and information from somewhere other than social media. And
No,
I mean, it's not even that. It's think somewhat critically. Just engage your head. It's like what Rianne's saying. It's like what Greg's probably about to say. Sorry, Greg, I'm cutting over you there. But it's just think.
Yeah.
Why are people that are so much more likely to be impacted by COVID out there protesting? It's because it's so important to them. Because it's bigger than that. It's potentially worth the risk. It's just think.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
I think they're
Be
just
surprised.
silly for it because
Well, true.
COVID ended when Dominic Cummings decided to do what he wanted
I
to
mean,
do.
absolutely. And people congregating up and down the
I
street.
don't know why you're blaming anybody else. COVID ended when that man decided to drive 100 whatever miles because he was blind and he wanted to test his eyeballs. That's when it ended.
Can I also make a point about what to just add to what you're saying? All the people who criticize me, some of them were friends of mine. Were friends on my Facebook. I blocked them from I blocked them on LinkedIn. So, like, I looked through their, and before I did that, I looked through their timeline. No one complained about the protesters outside Dominic Cummings' house lying down, complaining about what he did.
Or the Congo
Big
line
facts.
that we're doing. Or the
On
beach thing that they were
BE Day. Now everyone celebrates
or coming
BE
at
Day.
8 o'clock and clapping every night for the last how many weeks? Why didn't you say something then? This
Right.
is why you've always got to say, have the same energy, innit? Be consistent. Don't pick and choose when you're being consistent. Don't use Black Lives Matter as an escape pin for everything else. You already ended your COVID-19 4 weeks ago when that man decided to start taking the piss. Literally. Don't blame the young people.
Yeah.
We're out here because we know we're Black people. We're more likely to die, but we're still out there because clearly this is important.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Don't try it and blame it on another group of people. And this is me talking as Benny, not as BE, as a person. Because I know as a Black person, all of us have experienced racism. This is not an easy thing to talk about. When I talk about people who've lived through their traumas the last 2 weeks, they have. Because they're replaying back, oh, remember when that happened when I was at that job? Remember when that what happened when I went to play that game? You're remembering all the times where you've experienced this. And it's not a nice thing. So for people to then use it as a scapegoating thing, man, they need to look at themselves. And then they'll come and say on social media and say, I'm not racist, I'm not racist.
Yeah. If you see the rubbish I get, I'm not racist, my friend is Black, and listen, I had a Black boyfriend. One woman, she texted me, she told me I had a Black boyfriend, I'm not racist. I said, listen to me, Ashley Cole is Black. Cheryl Tweed decided to beat up a Black woman in the toilet and call her a Black bitch. Don't give me rubbish. I'm not interested in your rubbish. I don't want to hear rubbish.
There's a video.
But I wanted to say to Rianne that I was so proud to see her out there, to see someone I look like, I don't know Rianne, we're not friends on Facebook, we don't follow each other on Instagram, but I've watched her play live. I've seen the way she plays basketball. I've seen her in the GBs and the Englands. And for someone at that high level, that stature, that who's represented their country without what it could do for them, sometimes probably for free. Some of us go and play for GB, sleeping on a single bed. I've heard the horror stories. People talk about, like my teammate, he said he was having night terrors for the rest of the time he was out there because a cockroach crawled in his mouth. I'm sitting there thinking, you did that for GB. You put your neck on the line for GB, and now you're out here for us. And I just want to say to Rianne, I was super proud of not only her marching, but of the response she gave. Because I saw Gabriel Olasini's response. I spoke to Justin. I spoke to all these amazing players. And then I saw Rianne with the rest of the Manchester Mystics, and obviously Ryan Lewis, who's my boy. And I was super proud of the unapologetic blackness of that whole thing. I was super proud of you. So I just wanted to tell her that before things went forward.
Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, how do you guys respond to it? I mean, I just didn't really know what to do, because the one that upset me the most, I saw this morning, no, it's yesterday morning, somebody that I've known for a long time just posted a picture of, again, it was a different angle. I managed to spot myself on the picture, but the comment he put over it with dickheads en masse. And I was like, what do I do now? Do I go in all guns blazing? Do I
Yes,
rise up?
yes.
Do I block? You know, it leaves me think, how do you respond to this? Because it's like, it's so exhausting.
Adam, can I give you an idea?
Sure.
Yes, please, sir.
I been speaking to people on video about not engaging with people like Katie Hopkins, Tommy Robinson, Donald Trump, Candace Owens, and other fringe bigots. I have been really trying
Self-hating, the last one.
that in. I've been trying to stamp that into people's brain. Whoever that man was is obviously looking for engagements he does not deserve. Just like the rest of these fringe bigots who do not understand what's happening. All you need to do, as I've been saying, I might have to get on a t-shirt, cleanse your circle. Because the people, like you said, your favorite player was Yorick. You get to speak to Yorick every day. You probably get to speak to Rianne every day. That girl who's going to play in America. These are quality people. They're quality individuals. Cleanse your circle. You have a great podcast. You put Manchester Giants, that bad boy kit back on the map for me. That's the first time I've seen it since watching the videotapes back in the day that they put on Instagram, put on YouTube. Cleanse your circle, Adam. You don't have to talk to these people. You don't have to engage. Let him think what he thinks over there, away from you, outside your circle. Do not give him the engagements he doesn't deserve. Make sure you understand not to argue with people who are not your intellectual equal. I don't do that. If you ever saw me arguing with someone, I do it just like Greg does. Let my people see, let the people who understand how to deal with these bigots see what we think and how we react. But if it's someone
today you're saying that. Every other day I don't argue though. Yeah, today you're saying that.
No, I've been said that. I've been said that. You know I've been said that. I've been with you on that. But what I'm saying is, don't engage with these people, because the most important thing for Rianne, who were like us basketball players, us basketball coaches, us basketball people, basketball is our therapy. And right now we don't have it. And on top of the fact that we don't have basketball as our therapy, we're being attacked for being black. We're being attacked for speaking out against racism. We're being attacked because ending racism is some sort of debate. So what I would say for your mental health, because what you said was pertinent. What you said was, I was so exhausted. I was so tired. That's mentally. And if you're exhausted mentally and tired, you can't now deliver the great things you've been delivering throughout Manchester for all the time you've been doing it. So listen, cleanse your circle. Do you know how amazing it is? Buy a bottle of Vimto. They're $1.35 right now in Tesco. They're on offer. And make sure you put mad ice in it and cleanse your circle and sip that after. You'll be so refreshed. You'll be so refreshed, bro.
Every black person in the last 2 weeks is sitting back and analyzing all their friends and literally deleting them.
We've had to. We've literally had to.
Single person. It shouldn't be just black people.
No, it shouldn't
it's
be.
for white people. It's like really looking at your people and say, actually, you're right.
Yeah,
you're
I don't agree with you.
Don't be afraid of the delete and block button. I've been using it a lot this
week. Man,
yeah.
I've been using it indiscriminately, but not just now. It's been a long time I've been using it indiscriminately.
Get your Vimto out and cleanse the circle quickly.
But here's the thing, Ish, and to be fair, I think this actually cost Rihanna a game once. I don't have a filter when I think someone's full of shit. I'll say what I'm thinking right there and then, regardless of what the repercussions are, if I think you're full of shit. So when that happens, I will come at you, but I'm not coming at you just for me to be out there screaming. I'm telling you something. I'm hitting you with facts right between the eyes. And I really, deeply, truly in my core, hope it fucks with you on the inside. Because even if you're not going to change your mind, you will always remember it.
Will, I think you were trying to come in there, Will?
Yeah. How many Lithuanian teams are in D2?
Pardon?
How many Lithuanian teams are in D2?
I think two that I know of.
Two. I
They're in
think.
south. They're in the south, innit?
Yeah.
That is so long.
That's long for you, bro.
Why? Are you trying to move things?
Lithuanian team. It's just you already know what it is. It's before you even get to the game, innit? Like you already know what it is. Like so long playing them kind of teams, man.
That when listen, Will, when that time comes, this thing that happened in King's Lynn or the idea of you being over aggressive, forget about it. Do you?
Of course. That's what my coach tells me now. Like that's what I'm saying. Barry Powell gets it. He's a good lad. There's a few that I've played with or played for or played around or I know of that get it, that really get it. I know Nick gets it at Ipswich. I know Billy Beddoes gets it. I know he's connected to EB. I know Pete Childwood gets it. I know Barry Powell gets it. Who else is there that's around? Clarence Hicks, but he's not really about much more. But yeah, there's coaches out there that really do understand, and it's those coaches that BE need to be looking towards to help them move forward. That's black and white. That's not just people from that understand it because they're black, but I'm saying the white coaches that get it, we need to be bringing those people through and really putting those people on a platform to help make real change.
Benny, I got a question.
Sorry, go on, Ishmael.
How much conversations do you guys have with the BBL in this kind of climate?
Man. You see my face, I'm like, man.
Oh my goodness.
Because it's so easy. Over the years, I think everybody thinks BE controls everything, and we don't. We just control what we control. British basketball different, BBL is different. And to be honest, and be fair to BBL, over the last year and a half or 2 years, they've been very open and having more conversations on how we help them grow, you know, because it's got to the point we've got to help each other. So generally, I think that they are trying. They are trying. They're not perfect. They will get there. But still more work needs to be done. But I also, like I keep saying, this relies on all of us, not just the organizing bodies and governing bodies, because listen, there are still people within, not BE, but in other so-called federations in basketball that are still adamant that they don't want things to get better. But we've got to bulldoze them. It's as simple as that, but that can't just come from only a group of people. It's got to come from everyone.
Can I just ask why don't they want it to get? Is it like they're happy just making their £3 a week on the door for the tickets? Are they just happy with them?
Well, there's this mentality, and I'm sure you all know this already. There's this mentality within British basketball or basketball in UK is that people think that they own basketball. You know, I'm this and I've been running this for 20 years and I know that you don't own nothing. Nobody owns basketball. The only people that are governing body for basketball is Basketball England. Do you understand? They're a governing body, but everybody runs with the support of the governing body. So until we move away from, this is my thing, this is my little cocoon, I'm going to work over here because I think I'm better than everybody else. Unless we move away from that and start looking at working together, people will still laugh at us.
BE needs to start clipping those people when they act like that.
I've been saying this, man.
But this is the conversation.
Listen, BE's been a joke for too long.
I have this conversation all the time. So look at somebody like Masai Ujiri, the president of Toronto Raptors. You guys know he's British.
Yes. Yes.
I knew. I thought it was half and half, but
he played in the BBL.
He was born in Bournemouth. He's British. And I work closely with him and I say, look, Masai, you're going to have to step in, say something, do something. And all of us are eager to do something, right? But we've got to actively just bulldoze over the people that don't want change to come. But change is coming. So this is why I'm so proud that Rian says something. You know, I'm proud when the players stand up and say something, because sometimes it's not always Stuart. Who's going to listen to Stuart? He's a white man, middle-aged white man who's British, that's in basketball. But when the players start speaking up from the community, people have to then go, oh, do you understand what I'm saying? I'm always going to be that black woman that's angry. Even if I'm not angry, I'm just stating facts. They're going to go, oh, she's just angry, she's black and she's louder than that. It's not. This is what needs to change. But imagine if all of you are speaking as well. Then,
but they will say it. But just so you know, they will say that. Just so you know.
Oh, I know, but I'm past that. I'm past that already.
We cannot keep worrying about respectability politics.
I don't care.
It's done out here.
I'm not out here for them. I'm out here for the next generation that's coming through. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the parents that are speaking up, their kids are probably side-eyeing them. Their kids are side-eyeing and saying that you should know better.
Yeah, I'm completely done with the game of respectability politics. Yes, I'm a coach in the National League, but here's the thing. I'm a 32-year-old black male immigrant, okay? I don't identify with their man there. So it is not my concern how you necessarily view me. Like I said, you can't affect me. There's nothing you can do to hurt me, okay? I'm not worried about my job security with it. It is not a job. It is something I do because I want to, all right? So when it's time for me to speak out and say something, I will do that. Whether it's on my behalf, whether it's on someone else's behalf, it holds no fear for me, all right? Just because I'm a coach, and I have a lot of respect for this man, I have done for a long time, he's done a lot for me, Jeff Jones. Do you think I relate more with him than I do with Rian? Are you kidding? You know what I'm saying? So even though technically by title, I'm in his lane, that's as far as it goes.
Yeah.
These are my peers, even though Rian, you're an active player and you do coach as well, but you're an active player, I can identify a lot more with you than I do with Jeff Jones, with anybody else in that situation.
Like there's one big British basketball player that I ain't had nothing from, and I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I ain't seen nothing from Ovi still.
Mm-hmm.
See, I knew you were going to say Ovi. I was checking that.
All right, let me explain. Like, Ovi, actually, I grew up with Ovi. Benny knows me and Ovi.
And Ovi's my son.
Right, exactly.
My son.
Ovi actually put something out as soon as this happened. And Ovi, I feel almost sorry for Ovi in the way he has been isolated, because Ovi, I understand Ovi plays basketball, but he's so much bigger now. Mm-hmm. Everyone sees, like, and Ovi's probably marched, and Ovi put things out. Ovi put something out. He had to take it down, so I won't repeat what he said. But Ovi put something out, and he had to apologize to black people for it.
Yeah, he did.
He had to apologize to black people for it. Ovi's younger than me. I've always looked at Ovi as my young boy, right? So, and Ovi has, if anyone knows, Ovi's been racially abused in Barnet, where he's from, and he's dealt with it in a certain way that lots of people would like to deal with it in. But he's grown. He's grown, and what he does.
It's just for me. I look at like there's man like him, like he is this country's basketball right now. Like, you can't, regardless of you think he's the best player in the country or whatever, he is British basketball right now. And
honestly, Will,
he's the one I'm looking for. He's the one I'm looking to.
But if I'm honest with you, Will, I never saw Ovi. I didn't even see Ovi as the British basketball messiah. I just felt like the BBL were better because he's on TV. But the people who, like, Joe I Can Win. Joe I Can Win. If you don't know who that is, go on the cybernets. If you see the kind of information he is putting out, if you see what he's saying, Joe I Can Win has told people, he's an ambassador of a bunch of brands. He won't mention the brands that he's an ambassador for until he makes an official statement. But he is kicking them, he is letting them go because they haven't done enough for him.
One of them I know about, and I literally checked before we came on this to see what have they said, what have they done, what are they trying to do, and it's crickets over there.
I'm just letting you know that yes, as soon as this happened, Ovi put something out.
I've seen something on his Insta.
It might not have been the right thing to put out at the time.
He did put something on Twitter. He put something on Twitter. Black Twitter went crazy. He took it down. Then he had to put an apology up. But I think, as much as we like to think that Ovi is the face and a voice of British basketball, it's a responsibility that it's not really fair.
I'm not saying that I'm disappointed in him or that he needs to step up or whatever. I'm just saying I think there's a disconnect between this country's basketball stars, because that's like I feel like he is the star of basketball in this country. Like basically because of what he's done, and he is a talented player and he plays for GB. I feel like there's a disconnect with the young basketball players in this country, understanding he's someone that we should be looking up to, and others, like you were just saying about Joe Icon Win, like those are the players that we need to start pushing forward in BE and BBL and GB. We need to start actually making stars in this country and making them play it for like examples that players want to go to. We don't have that in this country. There's not a play.
We have to create that environment. Do you get what I mean? It's like me saying, if the CEO of BE says something, the kids are not going to relate to him because he's the CEO.
Yeah.
If Ovi or any of you guys say something, they're going to relate to him. But also, we've got to create an environment where Ovi is also supported. Because when
that's exactly what I'm getting at.
So all of us, or Rian speaking, you speaking, all the people in the NBL or BBL, everybody speaks at the same time, then Ovi doesn't feel out of place to make a comment because he knows that if he looks back, there's still people there to support him. But right now, he's out the wilderness by himself.
Yes, and
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Ish, I'll say this about Ish, is the biggest cheerleader of anybody that he likes, and he doesn't care where they come from. But that is like the most unique thing right now, because many people are envious of each other or talk down about each other, especially if they know you, right? So we need to do more of that, as opposed to someone thinking that they can be in Ovi's position and they should be in Ovi's position. Screw Ovi. No. You see that man catching smoke, back him.
That's
right?
it. That's
back
it.
Him. You see someone jumping on Rihanna's neck on social media, back him.
That's what I'm trying to say. When I saw the post, right? Listen, I don't like Manchester Magic. So they took trophies from me. I gave it back to them.
Deal with it.
Back to them. You know? Manchester Mystics, okay. I watch you guys play. I watch you guys dominate people and stuff. But if I'm honest about my team that I support, I'm not a Manchester Mystics supporter. But when I saw people going at Rian's neck, I thought, you're not attacking Rian. You're attacking us.
Yeah.
You're attacking, not as a basketball player, you're attacking us. As a basketball player, as someone you're defamating her character. Because you're trying to say that she's being irresponsible. That's what killed me. The word
you know what the maddest part about all this, and that all these people under the comments won't know? One of these irresponsible people, they're talking about an Olympian that represented their country, right? Dominique Allen is one of those people. Do you think they know that?
That's what I'm trying to say. I think,
honestly, is it.
One of the downsides of being a basketball player in England is we're so palpable that people just want to be on level all the time, and you can't cuss them out because then they start showing you, hey, you're a basketball player, you can't do that. So I felt like, I'll be honest with you guys, yeah, when this started, and I started thinking about what I was gonna say, when this whole thing started with the protests, and I started thinking about what I was gonna say, I said to myself, I'm gonna say things in this racist country that's possibly going to close doors basketball-wise because of what the board looks like in the BBL. No disrespect to any coaches, I'm not calling you racist, but what your owners look like, what the coach, and what I read from the guy. So I felt like, and a lot of other people felt like that, because when the guy said the tan thing, people messaged me directly when I asked what he said.
We're not hiding no more.
But people are actually afraid. Basketball players are actually afraid to speak out against something because they're afraid of reprisals. But Rian can go with her face, bare face, on her Instagram, whatever, and say, look, I'm not dealing with this no more. Even though we know that racism isn't just a problem, the biggest problem with racism is that people think it doesn't exist, and when we talk about it, we're just complaining about nothing.
Right.
Well, if the players decided not to play in a BBL then in protest, would they have a BBL?
it's up to them. That's another problem. We need to have a union. If we have a union, we can organize.
They won't have a BBL. So I always ask this question: does your leadership reflect the people you serve? If your leadership doesn't reflect the people you serve, then we have a problem. Does the leadership reflect the people that play in BBL? No. So it's got to change.
Sorry,
people don't want to go up.
Go on, Will.
I've just got I just got a message, yeah. So I was on Glenn Hardacre's post. He's Teesside. I think he owns Teesside.
No, he's Calderdale Explorers.
How you know? I know everything about Glenn. I know he works in Sainsbury's. I know he has a walking stick. How you not know that he's a bad man?
This is what I'm saying, man. Glenn puts himself out there. So what happened?
All right, so this guy, that's the guy that was trying to talk smoke about his team that was like sixth was going to trouble my team when we're beating teams by 110 points. But anyway, so facts, like it's mad to me that you're telling me this stuff. Anyway, so I've got on his post, he was like, does British basketball, does BE have enough representation of diversity? And I put, no, it does not. So the guy that runs the local Northamptonshire basketball, he's put on there saying that there's a talk that's happening, there's discussions at BE, which is obvious because we're talking to Benny right now, which is proof of change. But then his thing is, this is fantastic, at Basketball Northants, we have 3 of our 9 committee members that are BAME qualified. So basically saying we're not racist, we've got 3 on the staff.
We've got black friends.
Fam, like,
He said BAME
come on, man.
Qualification is the to get.
So like, as it, who would qualify as BAME is basically what it's saying, and one more with Italian heritage. Fam, Italian heritage. Fam.
Can I just say this right now for everyone?
Can
I just explain this for everyone? This is not for the people on this podcast, because I understand that we all know. I've spoken to most of you individually. I know how intellectual it is. BAM is not black. We are talking about Black Lives Matters right now. BAM is not black. BAM is every single ethnic minority grouped together. That is not helpful. That is not helpful.
You know what, Ish? Exactly, because what was the boy, Matt Hancock? They asked him this week, point blank. They said to him, "How many black people are in the current cabinet?"
He was stuttering hard.
He's struggling, wasn't he?
We have
most diverse. We've got BAME here, BAME there. The report
was he said we have diversity of thoughts. That should be enough. Like, are you okay, bro?
You man voted for this guy, not you man, but you man voted for these guys.
You must be mad if I voted. Do you know what's mad? Yeah. Do you know what's mad? I'm gonna expose him. My boy Tricky, he's on my team. He voted Conservative. Yeah. I hope you're looking. Yeah. See what you voted for. You see what you voted for. You see what you voted for. You see what you voted for.
Can I just
see what you voted for?
This is another thing. This is another problem that black people have to deal with, right? In this day and age, if you said something, I believe, I might be wrong, if you said something sexist, it's now being held in the same way, you know, or it doesn't matter if you said something just morally offensive, you should not be running a country. But the people who voted first past the post, the people who voted for this man knew that he called black people pickaninnies. He knew that he called us pickaninnies with watermelon smiles. In 2002, listen, that is general knowledge. There is absolute no way.
That was a boy within his book.
Anytime
I just want to jump in.
Anytime I say to people, you know he called me a pickaninny, right? You know what he said. You know what he did.
Not just a pickaninny, a pickaninny with a watermelon smile, Drake.
Right.
Smile.
But,
right. Can I just defend?
This is what I'm trying to say, right? This is what I'm trying to say. This is what I'm trying to say. When it comes to BE, this is why we have to be proactive and show love to not only black people, but our ethnic minorities, because it's a slap in the face, and it's educational to understand that is who he is dehumanizing right now. Well, calling people, and it's you have to be proactive. So I knew that no one cared about racism when he walked into number 10. I just knew that. And I'm talking about every single person who voted Conservative, who knew for a fact what he said, with the biggest energy and who apologized with this tiny, tiny energy. You knew exactly what he said. You knew it was racist, but you still had him in. So that was my big problem. My big thing about racism is trying to get non-racist people to care. So not everyone is racist, but people don't see it as a priority. Yeah. As long as their xenophobia can carry on,
yeah.
As long as their taxes can carry on.
Will's trying to come in. Will.
Yeah, so because I know Ish gets passionate. Just to defend Tricky, yeah, he did bike 40 miles to come protest on Saturday. So big up to Tricky. He cycled like full bicycle shorts. He cycled
3 hours.
I feel like I want to defend him, innit? Because yeah, he did vote Conservative, but when you're biking 40 miles to come and support, man, like I can't. Just, I can't knock you, innit?
You can get some points for that, but check this out. The weekend after the general election, my team, Lancashire Spinners, we had a Northeast doubleheader, so we were spending the night in the Northeast, and I was taking note of who won in what constituency. And the Northeast is blue hoo-hoo. You know,
it's
so
flipped,
I was...
It's flipped, completely flipped.
And I went up there. This is something that some people will never have to consider. Before we left Manchester on Saturday morning to go up to Newcastle to spend the night in Middlesbrough to play, you know, I was ready for anything to pop off in those places, you know, in regards to myself and the black players I'm taking into these places. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's crazy that is even a consideration when we're going to compete in a basketball game.
It's crazy. Listen, I've been in situations. I remember I was in a situation in London with Northampton Thunder, and three of the white players on the team got into a fight with Brunel when they had Adam Fosby, who is a clip. Just anyway, you have to guard him no matter anywhere behind the three. You have to put a hand up on that guy, which the guys guarding him didn't. But anyway, so they got into a fight. Who do you think were the first man on the bus without a shower?
Them man.
The white boys, straight away. They started the fight. Who do you think are the boys that are backing them up and the ones that are that having to go into the showers, which still irritates me. They have to shower in the same locker. Anyway, shower in the same locker room annoys the hell out of me. But yeah, had to go and then face their man and have to talk to them after you've had a scuffle on the court where you've been ejected. You've left your dad, who's the coach, to be defended. I'm standing in front of your dad, but yeah, at the end of the season, I'm the aggressor. That club. I've held my tongue for way too long on Northampton Thunder, man. Way too long.
Talk your talk, man. Talk your talk.
Way too long.
Listen, no,
are they still around? Are they still around?
They've got a couple youth teams. That's why I'm saying it. Cause from when they've had free access to a gym and been charging people £300 for every single player, and somehow the guy that owns the club has now got a second holiday home in Spain. It's a bit specky to me. But anyway, we move.
Well, I was gonna suggest at this point we start trying to wrap things up a little bit. Lads, my man, let's bring you back in for a sec.
I mean, I feel kind of it's like Riam, you were saying about the power of being there at the weekend. I certainly felt that, but I don't want to sound corny or anything, but I'm kind of feeling it now. And just hearing the passion and the discussion, I think, yeah, I'm kind of a little bit speechless right now. I'm a bit in awe of what everybody's saying, and all I can do is thank you so much for taking the time to come on and do this. It's been amazing, because I know that when I sort of need some clarity around the game in general, two of the people that usually get, well, actually, there's a few people here today that usually get a call, and she's already smiling, is Rianne and Greg, because they are, to me, kind of voices of reason, if that makes sense. And it's nothing to do with race or anything like that. It's just these are people whose opinions I respect so much, which is why I was so made up that you both came on. So thanks. And Rihanna, it's just, as soon as I saw those pictures, it's just like, you know, so many different types of pride. It was Manc pride, it was proud to be part of the sport, you know, and it was just seeing your friends out there, you know, seeing people that you see in the normal world, see every day.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you for like, definitely for me inviting you on, meeting you lot. Obviously, I know Greg and Adam. For me, it's been really powerful. The support that I've got from you lot and the Black community, because, you know, for me, I definitely know that I've normalized things for too long, and I don't want. And now that I'm moving into coaching, I'm coaching a lot more. I definitely don't want to do that to the younger kids, because I've had people tell me to quieten down. Even to this day, referees cannot handle a bit of emotion from me.
Don't get me.
Do you know what I'm
Please
saying?
don't
Well, so
get me on refs.
and Greg and Adam will let you know, I feel you on that one. Like, I've had it my whole entire career. So for me, it's just like, if I let the next generation feel the same way, that they have to be small, that they have to fit to a stereotype, or that they can't speak up, I just think we've failed. And the next generation is the ones that are going to make the biggest change, because if they're saying, don't touch my hair, don't say that to me, then people have to listen. And if everybody's doing it, no one can slip these sly microaggressions in anymore, because we're recognizing it and we're calling people out. And then hopefully white allies, the people who are with us, will also start to do it. And that's just, I think, it was just super important. It's just really important. And we've just got to keep pushing. We've got to keep sharing. We've got to keep backing each other, because we can't go back. Because I definitely believe that if we don't keep fighting, and if we do go back, it's going to be worse than ever. And we can't go there. Yeah, so thank you for inviting me on, and thank you for all of you guys. I appreciate you.
Beautiful. Benny, anything in closing?
I just think that people shouldn't be disheartened with what's happened. I mean, it's a great move. You know, it feels uncomfortable now, but we will get to the comfortable spot. We need to go through this uncomfortableness. And Rihanna, I'm really proud of you. Keep speaking up. Please keep leading the way, because those young girls, especially the girls, are going to be looking up to you going forward. And like you said, you know, things are changing, and the next generation can't go through what I've been through, what you've been through, what other people have been through. It's got to change. And I know from a commitment from me anyway, as a BE board member, I am screaming, I am shouting, I am fighting people, whether they like it or not, to change things, because we can't keep on going the way things have been the last 40, 50, 60 years. It's got to change. So please don't feel that this is, we're going backwards, we're going forward, but let's get over the uncomfortable spot and then start weeding out the unnecessary and take the necessary forward.
Will, in closing.
Just the ones that get it, keep speaking out, keep saying, like, this is to white teammates, white guys that are in the sport. If you get it and you understand and you've got black friends, keep speaking out, keep educating, keep standing with us. We love you, we appreciate you. Everybody does to do with the show, thank you for inviting me on. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah. Hurry up and tell me what if I'm going to be in the north or the south next year as well. I appreciate that.
Where do you want
Stay
to
in the south, brother. It's long for me.
Where do you want to be?
Oh, it'll be long, Greg. It'll be long.
Ishmael, anything in closing?
I just want to tell everybody here, protect your energy. Do not engage with people that are not your intellectual equals. We're not here to teach ignorant people. Ignorant people are incapable of learning, and that's their problem. I also want to say I'm proud of Rianne. I'm proud of Will. I'm thankful that we have Benny as a board member. I know her personally. I'm thankful to have her. I'm proud of Darren. I'm proud of Adam. I'm proud of everyone that's been speaking out. And I also want to say, I'm not going to be quiet ever. And that will never change. So you're gonna have to deal with me right now for the rest of the time I'm here. And if it closes doors basketball wise, that's what I'm gonna have to do. The last last thing I want to say is, through struggle, there is celebration. I celebrate the life of Martin Luther King every year. I celebrate the life of Marcus Garvey every year. I celebrate the life of Malcolm X every year. Fela Kuti. These black men who raised me, other than my dad himself. So I want to show that through my platform, but I also want BE to celebrate these diverse people. Maybe even not just black people, even though we're talking about Black Lives Matter right now, and I don't want to divert from Black Lives Matter, but the people that help women start playing basketball, because it's important. People who got blacks into the sport, people that got Asians into the sport, Diwali, all these things. It's time, through struggle, it's time to celebrate. So when it's possible, I'm all for that.
Daz, my man.
I just want to say a huge thank you to Ishmael, Will, and Greg in particular for this week on a personal level in our interactions. Personally, you've done a lot to educate a lot of people, myself included. You know, I'm always able, or hopefully able, to learn. And you guys, what you've been saying, really powerful things. Of course, Rian and Benny as well. Thank you so much for what you've been doing coming on today, and of course with your message throughout. It's like I said earlier, it's not that hard to think. Like what you were saying, Ishmael, it isn't hard to think. But if people are unwilling to take on board what people are saying, then cleanse your circle and keep it moving.
And
thank you again,
Greg, my man.
It's important for people to understand that the most painful thing you can do is change, but it's also the most important thing to do, especially when it's necessary. You know, I come from a place where I was the majority. You know, now I'm in a place where I'm in the minority. I've made that adjustment and I understand the differences, but I'm still me. You know what I mean? I'm never going to be anything else. So anybody, if you're tired, if you're afraid, if you're jaded, whatever it is, you can't speak out, I will do it for you. I've got boundless energy and I have no fears. Okay, so if you need someone to stand up for you, I'll be there and I will do that any time of the day.
Well, there we are. I feel very privileged to have been a part of this. Thank you, all of you, for coming on and doing this. And we'll leave it on that note. So take it easy. We'll speak to you soon.